Hari Jasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Prabhupada Jayo Jayo Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, verse number 14. So thank you all for joining. So let me share my screen and then we will recite the verse. Since it's only half an hour, I'll just recite the verse and then we'll continue. Tato anyatha kinchana yad vivakshata prathak drishasthat rupa namapi na karhi chitkvapi cha dushthita matir labeta vatahata naur evaspadam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Vyasadeva is the editor of all descriptions of Vedic literatures, and thus he has described transcendental realization in different ways, namely by fruitive activities, speculative knowledge, mystic power, and devotional service. Besides that, in his various Puranas, he has recommended the worship of so many demigods in different forms and names. The result is that people in general are puzzled how to fix their mind on the service of the Lord. They are always disturbed about finding the real path of self-realization. Srila Narada Dev is stressing this particular defect in Vedic literatures compiled by Vyasadeva, and thus he is trying to emphasize describing everything in relationship with the Supreme Lord. Let me read this again. Srila Narada Dev is stressing this particular defect in Vedic literatures compiled by Vyasadeva, and thus he is trying to emphasize describing everything in relation with the Lord and no one else. In fact, there is nothing existent except the Lord. The Lord is manifested in different expansions. He is the root of the complete tree. He is the stomach of the complete body. Pouring water on the root is the right process to water the tree, as much as feeding the stomach supplies energy to all parts of the body. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva should not have compiled any Puranas other than Bhagavad Purana, because a slight deviation from that may create a havoc for self-realization. If a slight deviation can create such havoc, then what to speak of deliberate expansion of ideas separate from Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead? The most effective part of worshipping demigods is that it creates a definite conception of pantheism, ending disastrously in many religious sects, detrimental to the progress of the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam, which alone can give the accurate direction for self-realization in eternal relationship with the personality of Godhead by devotional service in transcendental love. The example of the boat disturbed by whirling wind is suitable in this respect. The diverted mind of the pantheist can never reach the perfection of self-realization due to the disturbed condition of the selection of object. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanussate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripasindhubheva cha Padithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shavasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langayate girim Yatkripātamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So again, thank you all for joining. So just to give a context of where we are in Srimad Bhagavatam here. So Vyasdev is an incarnation of the Lord, and his purpose was to document everything. All the details of our Vedic knowledge is supposed to be documented. So he wrote the Vedas, then all the Puranas, 18 Puranas, Bhagavatam is one of them, Itihasas, Samhitas, everything he wrote. But the bulk of what he wrote was about different procedures to worship different devas to achieve different results in life. When you have so much variety, then you get confused. Just to give you an example, let's say you go to some store for grocery, and let's say you're looking for moong dal. Just giving an example. If there are 15 brands of moong dal and you don't fully understand which one is better, which one is not, whether to buy a small grain, big grain, dark grain, light grain, you do not know, right? So what happens? It happens all the time. You look at 10 different varieties of same dal and you get confused, which one am I supposed to buy? Should I buy the one which is shiny, or should I buy the one where the grain is bigger? Should I buy the one which is cheapest? If you buy the cheapest, you may not get the best quality, but we don't know what is the best quality. So what happens is, when you put too much variety in front of people, then people get confused. And that's particularly you can see in America. Any store you go, it's just so much variety that you get lost thinking, what exactly do I want? What am I looking for? So it's a similar thing that happened here, that he gave so much details in the scriptures that people could not figure out what exactly am I supposed to do. And most of those details were around worshipping the devas to get the material benefit. Because if you see the condition of most people in this world, just look around, look wherever you are at, just look around the people you will see most people are interested in some kind of material benefit. Either they are looking to stay young, they are looking for more money, just different aspect of how to stay comfortably in this world. Not many people are thinking of getting out of this world. That's the reality of this world. Even though every single person knows that one day I have to leave this world, most people are not preparing for it. Most people do not like the idea. That's why they never talk about it. It's like when you have a journey, the journey has to come to an end, right? If I get in the plane from here to Atlanta, I know I'm going to reach Atlanta in 1 hour, right? Or 1.5 hours, whatever. Similarly, people know that my maximum age is about 80, 90 years, but they are not willing to talk about it or discuss, but they are not prepared to leave this body. Why? Because most people are interested in how to make this world comfortable. To facilitate that desire of the people, Srila Vyasadeva in literatures, Vedic literatures, gave a lot of details about how to achieve the best possible situation in this world. So after writing all this, Vyasadeva was sitting one day morning on the bank of Saraswati thinking, why am I not feeling satisfied? I've done everything for what people need, but still I'm not satisfied. And that's when Narad Muni came. Narad Muni was smiling and he was looking at Vyasadeva and he could understand. Srila Prabhupada says, face is the index of your mind. Most situations your face can tell you what you're thinking. Sometimes a person can be a poker faced and then it's hard to figure out, but in most times, based on the face of the person, you can figure out what they're thinking or what they're going through. Right? So here, when Narad Muni saw the face of Vyasadeva, he understood that he's not happy. So he asked him, you've done everything. You've written everything according to what the needs of the people are. Still, you are not satisfied. What is the reason of your dissatisfaction? Then Vyasadeva also said that I also don't know why am I feeling that way because I've done everything I'm supposed to do. That's when Narad Muni told him, the reason you're not satisfied because you have not described enough about the Supreme Lord, which is the ultimate destination or goal of every living entity. The main education which they need in their life has not been described properly by you. It has been described in bits and pieces here and there, but it is not given as a whole, like a condensed unit where the message is very clear about the Supreme Lord. So that's when he spoke this verse, Tad Vag Visargo Janataga Viplapo Yashmin Prati Shlokam Avadhabad Vihapi Namani Yashas Yasho Ankitani Yad Shrinvanti Gayanti Grananti Sadhava. I think that verse came few verses ago. Tad Vag Visargo Janataga Viplavo. That means, and Prabhupada also uses that verse to make a point. That verse, in that verse, Narad Muni is telling Vyasadeva that even if you compose your literatures imperfectly, so long as they are describing the Supreme Lord Krishna, honest people will accept it. That's the summary of that verse. And then he told them that on the other side, if you describe something which is only related to this material world, that is something like a place of pilgrimage for crows, and swans do not come there. Swans are the Paramhansas. Paramhansas are the pure devotees of the Lord. They are not interested in a lot of details you've written. Now look at it. It's actually a very interesting thing. Vyasadeva is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. The bulk of his writing are related to how to live comfortably in this world. So there Narad Muni is telling him the devotees do not even want to read what you've written because it's all about how to adjust your temporary situation, and they are not interested because they are interested in something permanent. So when he described all these things, and slowly he came to this verse, and that's where he said, whatever you desire to describe that is separate from the vision of the Lord simply reacts in different forms, name results, to agitate the mind. As the wind agitates the boat in which has no resting place. Okay, so let's look at the example first, because Sukadeva Goswami. So before I proceed, is everybody following so far what I spoke? Just give me a thumbs up or anything. I'd just like to know if everybody's
Yes,
following.
Prabhuji. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, Aditi Pawar saying yes. Good. Okay. So, here he is giving the example of wind agitating the boat which has no resting place. So, let's look at the example first. When you have a boat, every night people anchor it. If you don't anchor it, you don't know where it is going to be next morning. The boat must be anchored, right? This goes without saying. Everybody does it. All boats, you go to any dock, anywhere, you see in the night, all the boats are anchored. They're right next to each other and they're locked because they might slip away. So now he's talking about the boat that is not anchored. So if you have a boat that is not anchored in the middle of a lake, what do you expect? The expectation is that I have no clue where it is going to be tomorrow morning, because it just depends on how the winds are, how the water is, how the waves are. So this example is very appropriate because the people who have no place to stand in life, they have no direction in life, they get thrown around based on the environment, the situation, their people around them, and all those things. So when there's no clear direction in life about how to reach your supreme destination, then you will get thrown around in different directions. And this is what he's saying is, when you describe something, how to be comfortable in this world, people try those things, get the results, but those results are temporary. So once you get those temporary results, at some point those results are over, and then you work for something else, and then you work for something else. Because the outcome is temporary, this effort to achieve something constantly goes on. That's why he's saying with different names results to agitate the mind. The mind becomes agitated because, let's say, if I'm trying to aspire something in this world, to live comfortably, a bigger house, simple example, bigger house. I get it, but my mind constantly is agitated because once I get the bigger house, I want something else. Because once we aspire for something, it's an illusion to think that once I get it, I will be happy. Because once we get it, almost always, once we get that thing, then we want something else. We see it in our day-to-day life every time, all the time we see that. So when we keep changing from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other in this world, then naturally we are always agitated because we did not find satisfaction in what we got. And that's what he's telling him, that if you do not give them direct knowledge about Krishna, the Supreme Lord, then the people will be agitated and they will not be satisfied. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita which says, te api mameva yajante ye api anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvite te api mameva konteya yajante avidhi purvakam. That verse in Gita says, ye api anya devata bhakta, those who are worshipping or bhaktas of anya devata, all the demigods, yajante shraddhayanvite, they are doing yajan with shraddha. They are worshipping all these demigods with faith. Te api mameva konteya, they are worshipping me only. Yajante avidhi purvakam, but they are not doing the proper vidhi. Yajante avidhi purvakam. Vidhi is the procedure, avidhi is a wrong procedure. So Krishna himself is saying, if you are worshipping different devas, then what you are doing is coming to me only, but it is not following the right procedure. And this is what is being said here also, that in Puranas, Vyasadeva has recommended worship of so many demigods in different forms and name. The result is that people in general are puzzled. They can get confused because there are so many procedures, so many devas. What should I do? Should I worship him or not worship him? If I worship him, he will be upset. If I worship him, others will be upset. Sometimes people come to Krishna conscious and they are scared to worship Krishna because they think Lord Shiva will become upset with me because if I deviated from his worship, or now I'm getting someone else. Krishna says in Gita, you're worshipping devas, you're doing the avidhi purvakam, not the right way, but still people, when they come to Krishna, sometimes they get confused and they are a little doubtful because they think the devas will be upset. So all this confusion happens because there is no proper education towards the ultimate goal of life. And we should be grateful to Srila Prabhupada that most of us are born in Sanatan Dharma. We have some idea of our Dharma, but we do not have proper education till we came to ISKCON. I see a lot of devotees from Indian background. Most of them do not have proper education about Sanatan Dharma before they came to ISKCON. After coming to ISKCON, you become educated, then you actually properly follow our Sanatan Dharma. So we should be very grateful to Prabhupada for which he is giving us through Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And this particular verse is basically emphasizing the same point, which is that the focus should be the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada is giving multiple examples. He is giving the example of the tree. If you want to nourish the tree, you have to water the root, which is not even visible. It's a very interesting point. You water the part of the tree which is not even visible, and yet you get full results. People say, show me God. And when we worship Krishna, they're saying that you're worshipping the Murti, right? So for most people, they cannot see God. So you cannot see the roots of the tree also. So why do you worship the root? Water the root. Don't water the root. Assume there's nothing there. Tree is somehow standing on its own, and it will survive if you water the leaves. That's a foolish thing to say because most people know the tree is standing because there's a root. Everybody knows that. So it is very foolish to say that water the leaves. But a kid who is 5 years old, or 4 years or 3 years old, if a kid sees that person is putting water on the root, they will say, why are you putting on the root? There's nothing there. Put it on the leaves. So this is the condition of human society, that they are worshipping or they are watering the leaves and branches, but not really knowing where the root is. So Prabhupada is giving the example of a tree. If you want to nourish the tree, you worship the roots. Similarly, if you want to nourish the body, you have to feed the stomach, not hands or legs or any of that, because stomach is the one that gives energy to the body. These are very simple example. Anybody will say, why do I need this very simple example? But they have a very deeper meaning, that by comparing with the tree or with our body, we have to understand where the energy should be focused. It should be focused on the root. It should be focused on the stomach. Similarly, when it comes to doing the spiritual life, our energy should be focused on Lord Krishna. And that was the defect in Vyasadeva's writing so far. And Narad Muni pointed it out. Once he pointed it out, then Vyasadeva understood and he corrected that, and that's how Srimad Bhagavatam was written. So at this point, I'll take a pause. We have 5 minutes to go. If anybody has any questions or comments, we can discuss those. Was it clear, whatever we discussed so far?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, okay, that's good. Any questions, comments? Okay, there's nothing. So, Kalini Mataji, what should we do? Should we wrap up or should I explain a little more on this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. If you can add some more points, Prabhuji, if you are okay.
Sure. Okay, so I can maybe emphasize a few things. So let me, since I've already covered this verse, I'll just emphasize a few points from this chapter. It may be a repetition of what you've already seen, but just I'll highlight it one more time. Okay?
Yeah, I just want to say the class is amazing, Prabhuji. Every word is the words of Srila Prabhupada, and it is so admiring. Thank you so much.
Sure, Mataji.
Hare
Srila
Krishna
Prabhupada ki
Prabhuji.
jai.
Thank you.
So let me go back and just I'll highlight a few things. Everybody's looking at my screen or you are listening?
We were able to see.
Able to see, Prabhu.
Okay, you're able to see. Okay. So let's look at the flow, because sometimes when we look at the flow of the chapter, then we have a context of what's going on and then we can understand better, right? So let's look at this. So I'll just go close to where we were and just go a little bit backwards, and I'll highlight a few things which are actually extremely useful. See, there's an example which is given in our Vaishnava circle. Bhakti is compared to an ocean, right? Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that's our main scripture, one of the main scriptures. Nectar of devotion, but the original name is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sindhu is ocean. So Bhakti is an ocean because the more you explore, the more you get, right? Now, one quality of the ocean is that there are many boats on the ocean. The ones that go deep, they get pearls because pearls are in the deep ocean. But the ones that are shallow, they collect only fish. So it's the same ocean, same boat, same people, but if they go shallow, then they collect fish. If they go deep, then they collect pearls. There's no different place for collecting pearl versus fish. It's the same ocean, but results are different depending on how deep you go. Similarly, in our bhakti, if we stay shallow, so what I mean by shallow is that we just mainly, just do something at the behavior level, but not really interested in bhakti, or do little bit bhakti and more socializing, or just different aspect of being shallow. If we stay shallow in our bhakti, then we'll collect few things, but they will be just like fish. They'll be superficial. Like sometimes name and fame is there, sometimes recognition is there. Okay, I'll sponsor something, I get some recognition, and that's all I'm looking for, nothing more. So when that happens, then it is shallow. But when you go deep, then you can find a lot more. So let me highlight a few things. Okay, this one. This particular verse, Na yad vachas chitra padam harir yasho jagat pravitram pragarnita karichit tadvayasam tirtham ushanti manasa nayatra hamsa nirmanti ushikshaya. So here I'm going to highlight a few things on my screen just to point out a few words, because this verse is used by Prabhupada pretty often. Nat yad vachas. Vachas is your speech or description or your writings. Chitrapadam Harer Yasho. Chitrapadam is description, right? Harer, Hari, Krishna, and Yasho, his glories. What's the benefit of this? Jagat Pavitram Pragarnita Karichit, because that alone can purify this world. So here in this two lines, Narad Muni is saying that descriptions of the Supreme Lord is the only thing that can purify this world. Jagat Pavitram, not your home Pavitram or this Pavitram or that Pavitram. To purify this entire world, you need Vachas Chitra Padam Harir Yasho. The Yash, the glories of Hari, should be described. If, then he's using the word na, that means if your words do not describe the glories of the Supreme Lord, which alone can purify the universe, tad vayasam tirtham. That is a tirtha, a holy place for vayasam. Vayasam is crows. So only crows come there. If you see all this news, because news also give you daily about different things, movie stars, sports star, politicians, this, that, all of whatever it gives about this world, that is considered equivalent to Vayasam Tirtham, the pilgrimage of crows. Crows come there to look for information. Ushanti Manasa Na Yatra Hamsa Nirmanti Ushakshaya. The Hamsas, the pure birds, the swans, they are not interested in that place. Na Yatra Nirmanti Ushikshaya. That means they are used to a better lifestyle. They know a better place to go, so they will not go there where there are words which are not describing the Supreme Lord. For example, like 20, 30 years ago, today is everything on internet, but 20, 30 years ago, you go to a bookstore, any bookstore, in railway station or anywhere you go, you will see all about movie magazines or about sports magazine or about newspaper, about the politicians or whatever is going on. And most people buy that only. This verse of Bhagavatam says that is equal to just a place for pilgrimage for crows. Because crows, where do they come? Where there's garbage. But Hamsa, swans, you'll never see a swan just walking around near garbage. They will be in the water and they'll be looking for clean stuff to eat. So like that, he's just describing why Krishna's glories should be, described and what's the benefit of doing that. And then this next verse, I'll just quickly read and we'll wrap up because it's already 7:02. On the other hand, the literature which is full of description of the transcendental glories of the Lord, of the name, fame, form, pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord is different creation, full of transcendental words directing towards bringing about a revolution in the impious life of worlds misdirected civilization. A revolution in the impious life of misdirected world civilization. Such literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So, one last point I'll make on this. Prabhupada's primary language is not English, and he uses this word in the beginning to say that even if whatever I'm writing has some defects, those who are honest, okay, those who are honest, here, write this word. Those who are honest, they'll accept it because they see the value. So Prabhupada uses this word to make a point. Now, Prabhupada's English is actually very good. It has been understood all over the world, but still Prabhupada is taking that humble position to say my English is not perfect, but because it's talking about the Supreme Lord, honest people will accept it. So with that, we'll conclude. Chalo Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody has any comments, questions, reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Can you hear me?
Mataji, your voice is low. Let me just increase the volume. Okay, please.
I don't know, there is some audio issue, but can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I had one question around the boat that goes deeper actually gets the pearl, like otherwise it is shallow, right? In our daily, day-to-day Krishna conscious life, how do we have those spiritual desires? First of all, is it right to have those spiritual desires for us to deepen our, say, taking classes or preaching or practicing bhakti or doing kirtan or something like that, how do we have, is it okay to have those spiritual desires to have more deeper, and also how do we convert that actually to increase our progress in bhakti, understanding Krishna? Like these, I just have these questions. Like sometimes we, Krishna conscious devotees, we as practicing devotees, we have spiritual desires like deities or something like that, right? Worshipping the deities in a better way or something. Just a question around those spiritual desires.
Sure. Mataji, who's speaking? I don't.
This is Lalita Govinda Priya Devi Dasi. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. So that's actually a very good question. So should we have spiritual desires? So desire is the nature of the soul. If you do not have spiritual desires, then we'll have material desires, right? For example, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and you look around the shopping. You will see people lining up everywhere because they have nothing better to do. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't get a good deal, go buy it. I'm not saying that. If you get a good deal, you buy it. No problem. We should buy it. We'll also buy. But the point is, what's the focus of our life? We have to have some desires. If you have desires about spiritual life, that is going to take you further away from this material world. So that's exactly what we need, to have desires which are spiritual in nature. And one more point I'll make here is actually just to put some numbers around it. Bhakti is a more internal process than external. You can even say like 80-20. 80% is internal, 20% external. Just like, now this example I'll give. When you want to eat food, again Prabhupada gave the example of food. This is actually a very important point, so I just want to make sure I get it across. Prabhupada uses the example of food, feeding the stomach, he was using that. Now the food, this is from Srila Prabhupada, he explains. It gives you three things. It gives you energy, it satisfies the hunger, and it gives nourishment to the body. Energy and nourishment are two separate things. If you eat junk food, you will get energy, but you do not get nourishment. If you eat junk food for too long, you will see some signs in your body that your body is not being nourished. So nourishment and energy are two different things, and satisfaction of hunger is separate, because we feel hungry, we want to eat. Whether we eat good food or junk food, hunger is gone, right? So these three things happen, but all these three things are internal. Satisfaction of the hunger, getting energy, and nourishment of the body, all these three things are internal. But for you to eat the food, it has to be cooked and presented nicely. If someone throws some good food in a bad plate, dirty plate, your appetite goes away. So for us to eat the food, it has to be presented nicely. But once we eat it, most of the process is actually happening inside the body. The point I'm trying to make is that we go to temple, we associate with devotees, we attend festivals, we attend kirtan, everything is good. But the purpose of all that is to actually internalize what we are seeing outside. So once it goes inside, that's when you start to go deep in bhakti, and that's where you get your satisfaction. Externally, things will change. Today you are at one situation, tomorrow you will be in a different situation, because material world we cannot control. But once you internalize the bhakti process and you feel the satisfaction inside, then your dependence on the outside world goes down and down, because you are feeling satisfaction internally. To come to your original point, desires must be for the spiritual life, because that is the only thing that is going to give you internal satisfaction. Nothing else will do it. To make sense?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. So, with that, we'll conclude today's Bhagavatam class. Let's thank His Grace Nanda Kumar Prabhu. He is giving continuously association to all our congregation members, to Srimad Bhagavatam classes, Bhagavad Gita 18-day course, different ways. He's so kind. He's giving his time for all of us. Let's thank him by chanting 3 times Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai.
So, few announcements. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, we are doing Thanksgiving feast through potluck. So, encouraging everyone to choose your dish and bring your friends, neighborhood, and chit chat so that you can send this message internally to their hearts. So, it's a casual gathering with a lot of fun and a lot of games, activities, prasadam. So, bring all the new people so they'll like it, our association. And also, you can choose your dish, what dish you are going to prepare and bring. Make sure that you are following the standards. 16 malas for regulative principles, vegetarian kitchen, you can cook anything. 18 malas, vegetarian kitchen, you can cook fried items. And 4 malas, vegetarian kitchen, you can make salads. Others, you can bring nuts, um, fruits, flowers, all other stuff. You're all welcome to bring your love to offer to Krishna. And on December 1st, we are celebrating Gita Jayanti Mahayagna on Monday at 6:30 p.m. in our center. I request all the people to come and participate. If you would like, you can sponsor one chapter and you can perform Yajna with your family members. For more details, we already circulated messages. You can see that. And also, please block your calendar on New Year Eve, 31st night, December 31st night. We are going to have a kirtan, events, and some presentations about our current temple project. And then we'll have some kids' performances as well. So it's a fun-filled activity from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. 12 a.m. in the midnight. So it's auspicious to start your new English year with the Krishna conscious way instead of hanging out some karmi place. So you're all welcome to come and stay together and glorify the Supreme Lord and start your New Year, English New Year with Radha Madhava, Mangala Harati and Darshan and in an auspicious way. Block your calendar. Thank you very much. With that, let's offer our praise to Lord Narasimhadev for the protection of entire congregation and entire world. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnam Jalantam Srotomukam Narasimham Bhishणं भद्रं मुच्युर्मुच्युर्नमाम्यहम् उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं स्रोतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मुच्युर्मुच्युर्नमाम्यहम् उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं स्रोतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मुच्युर्मुच्युर्नमाम्यहम् Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Let's offer our obeisances for all assembled Vaishnavas who gave a wonderful association to read this great Bhagavatam together. Vancha kalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Let's chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times enthusiastically and wind up the class. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. भगवान श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवत गीता की जय. पुराणम भागवतम की. Tomorrow morning 6:30 a.m. as usual with a great enthusiasm. Hare Krishna. See you all tomorrow morning 6:30 a.m.
Thank you all.